10. American Gangster. Released in 2007 and directed by Ridley Scott, American Gangster follows a Harlem mobster by the name of Frank Lucas. Lucas is on the rise in the Harlem drug scene, moving his way up the ladder and passing traditional Italian mafia families as one of the biggest drug lords in all of the town. Taking place in the 1970s, American Gangster provides ample amounts of intriguing dialogue as well as tense and suspenseful situations. As Lucas grows his empire, he becomes more susceptible to law enforcement, which is why local police officer Richie Roberts is assigned to handle the Lucas case. With a very complicated yet fascinating game of cat and mouse between the two, Lucas always seems to be a tad bit more knowledgeable in certain situations than Roberts, as all mobsters typically are. Overall, American Gangster is a great depiction of Lucas's mob, how it operates, and how it was policed effectively in a more modern-day Harlem, New York. 9. The Untouchables. Released in 1987 and directed by Brian De Palma, The Untouchables follows the ultimate American crime legend, Al Capone. Capone rules Chicago with an iron fist during the time of Prohibition, taking nonsense from no one. Capone is very brutal and very powerful, and is becoming rich off bootlegged alcohol, providing Americans with a desire that their government will not grant them. Elliot Ness is the federal agent tasked with bringing Capone down, but with a large percentage of the police force serving under Capone, Ness finds an abundance of obstacles and challenges during his investigation and pursuit. It seems as if no one could be trusted with information, mainly because it would in some way or another get back to Capone, ruining all the forward progress made. In short, The Untouchables is a very entertaining depiction of Al Capone's empire and the federal agents who are attempting to bring it down. 8. Donnie Brasco. Released in 1997 and directed by Mike Newell, Donnie Brasco follows an undercover cop in New York City, named Donnie Brasco, who has infiltrated a very powerful mafia family and is tasked with collecting enough illegal intel on them to bring them down. Brasco gets in good with Lefty, who is one of the major players in the family that Brasco is investigating. After spending so much time together and discovering similarities between himself and Lefty, Brasco begins to understand that he may not be so different from the guys that he is trying to arrest and begins to question his orders as a whole. With fantastic acting from Al Pacino and Johnny Depp, Donnie Brasco shows an awesome feature of how an organized crime family gets along with each other, how they endure some very bizarre situations, and how it overall operates. 7. The Departed. Released in 2006 and directed by Martin Scorsese, The Departed follows Frank Costello, who is the head of a modern-day Irish gang located in Boston, Massachusetts. Billy Costigan is an undercover cop who has successfully infiltrated Costello's gang and is actively recording vital information in an attempt to bring them down. While Costello may have a rat on the inside of his gang, he also has an informant working in the Boston police force, providing him with essential information to keep his illegal business running smoothly. With a star-studded cast consisting of Jack Nicholson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, Martin Sheen, and more, The Departed is viewed by the public as having one of the greatest movie casts of all time. Consisting of many counts of debauchery and deception, The Departed follows how uncertainty and betrayal can cripple a powerful organization along with the people involved in it. 6. Casino. Released in 1995 and directed by Martin Scorsese, Casino follows Sam Ace Rothstein, who is the newly appointed casino manager of the Tangiers Casino on the Strip in Las Vegas. After being appointed to this position by the heads of his respected mafia family, Rothstein makes it his mission to ensure that the casino does well and takes nonsense from no one. After the return of Rothstein's longtime mafia partner, Nicky Santorno, and after marrying his wife Ginger, problems begin to emerge for Rothstein, which fluctuate into his career, causing the casino to decline in productivity and ultimately make Rothstein look bad. Trying to straighten things out, he finds it very difficult to run a legitimate business while being tormented by his best friend and wife. With amazing acting performances from Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, Casino incorporates some very brutal yet real situations. An overall great depiction of how a life full of crime and not so supportive friends can ultimately lead to the downfall of a powerful being. 5. Scarface. Released in 1983 and directed by Brian De Palma, Scarface follows Tony Montana, a Cuban immigrant, throughout his life as a cocaine kingpin in the United States. Starting out with nothing, Montana works his way up the drug business in Miami through desire, hard work, and dedication. After completion of his first task, Montana gets in good with a prominent cocaine distributor and begins to make a hefty amount of money. Spending his money on fancy suits, expensive dinners, and a giant house, Montana is making it big and loving life. As he grows more powerful, he becomes more paranoid and more self-centered, leading to very big problems between his best friend Manny and his sister Gina, who he cares about more than anyone in the world. From luxurious living to a lot of cocaine usage, Scarface shows an accurate representation of how drug lords live and conduct everyday business while avoiding law enforcement and death. With outstanding acting from Al Pacino, Scarface ultimately exhibits how greed, distrust, and disloyalty can bring even the most powerful of gangsters down. 4. Pulp Fiction. Released in 1994 and directed by Quentin Tarantino, Pulp Fiction follows another star-studded cast featuring Samuel L. Jackson, John Travolta, Bruce Willis, Uma Thurman, Harvey Keitel, Ving Rhames, and many more. Viewed as one of the greatest movies of all time, Pulp Fiction's storyline incorporates Jules Winfield and Vincent Vega as they work under Marcellus Wallace, a notorious gangster, and fulfill his day-to-day tasks. After a professional boxer by the name of Butch wins a fight that Marcellus paid him a lot of money to lose, Butch goes on the run, while Marcellus dispatches Winfield and Vega to track him down. In the meantime, many other events are taking place as well, such as a robbery in a diner, a dinner date between Vega and Marcellus's woman, and an eventful visit to some people who owe Marcellus money. With groundbreaking dialogue between Jackson and Travolta, this movie goes way beyond the average gangster film, constituting multiple bizarre situations for all of the main characters. Pulp Fiction shows how witty conversations, unexpected events, and extraordinary acting can combine to form an epic film that will always be highly regarded in terms of cinema. 3. The Godfather Part II. Released in 1974 and directed by Francis Ford Coppola, The Godfather Part II is the sequel to The Godfather and follows Michael Corleone as the new dawn of the Corleone crime family. Taking place in New York City, the Corleones are one of the highest-ranking mob families around and are faced with dilemmas of how to ensure profit without taking on too much heat from law enforcement. Usually dealing with ventures such as gambling, the Corleones are reminded of how times are changing and organized crime is becoming much harder to operate within. The Godfather Part II also features a young Vito Corleone, who is Michael's father, and his life growing up in Italy. Vito started out with nothing and made himself into a very respected don after the death of his father. Committing illegal crimes became somewhat of a norm for Vito, as Italy was scattered with gangsters and mafia families. He realized that if he wanted to make a life for himself and his family, he must do whatever it takes. Overall, The Godfather Part II is a stunning motion picture and became critically acclaimed through fantastic screenplay, writing, graphics, and acting from Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Robert Duvall, and many more. As a true American classic, this film will be one that people continue looking up to for many years to come. 2. Goodfellas. Released in 1990 and directed by Martin Scorsese, Goodfellas follows a young man named Henry Hill as he becomes a part of the mob and grows up within it. With mentors like Jimmy Conway and Tommy DeVito, Hill becomes attuned to mob life at a very fast pace and begins dealing in illegal activities and drug use on a daily basis. With many intriguing crimes committed throughout the film, Goodfellas captures the life of the mob fittingly. This film also depicts how the mob can destroy people on the inside, raping them of their original beliefs and values and turning them into individuals that will do anything to avoid imprisonment or death. All things considered, Goodfellas truly depicts what life in the mob is like and shows the rise and the fall of a once innocent individual who delved too far into the lifestyle. It goes into depth on everyday activities, relationships, and crimes of the mob, and how these events affected Hill's life as well as his family's. 1. The Godfather. Released in 1972 and directed by Francis Ford Coppola, The Godfather follows Don Vito Corleone and the Corleone crime family, located in New York City. Originally from Italian heritage, the Corleones have solidified themselves as one of the major crime families in all of New York. As the film takes place during the 1940s, the way of running organized crime families is rapidly changing and becoming much more difficult within the terms of the law. As other Italian crime families in New York are trying to move into the drug business, Don Vito and the rest of the Corleones want to stay away from it and continue with their current gambling venture to avoid too much heat from law enforcement. This creates tension between the Corleones and the rest of the families, leading to situations that could end up with someone either hurt or dead. The Godfather employs directing, acting, and writing like never seen before. A masterpiece in itself, the film is already regarded as one of the greatest movies of all time, if not number one, leading it to be a shoo-in first pick for the top 10 greatest gangster movies.